Welcome to Borderline Brilliant, the podcast where we talk about the messy, the meaningful, and everything in between.
I'm Mandeep.
And I'm Rashi. We're siblings, polar opposites in some ways, and way too alike in others. And today, we're going into very different territory. We're talking about human design. If you've never heard of it, buckle up. If you have, you know exactly why this conversation needed to happen. We're diving into a system that blends astrology and quantum physics into a framework for understanding how you're literally wired, how you make decisions, how you use your energy, and why you might have been living completely out of alignment with who you actually are. This one's going to get deep, it's going to get personal, and honestly, it might just change the way you see yourself and how you see every relationship in your life. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so for those of us who this is completely brand new to, including myself, Rashi's been telling me about this stuff and saying, hey, you got to check this out. It's this, it's that, it's the other. And I'm like, all right, cool. We'll see how it goes. But then, when her and I started this whole podcast, we had a talk about why we have such good synergy, and I said my thing of, look, I'm in, I'll throw in some color, I'll talk, I'll do this and that, but I need you to provide that structure to kind of be the engine and, I'll hum right along, I'll be the fuel. But then she went in and showed me the whole human design thing, and she's like, here, let me pull up you and me. And it was literally exactly what we had talked about, but even more definitive.
Yeah. So I had never heard of human design, and as most of you know now, I'm a wellness and life coach. And so I'm always exploring different things to be able to help my clients. And I had this incredible meeting with a friend, and we were actually talking about putting on a workshop together. And we met for coffee, we're having a conversation, and we're like a couple of minutes into it. And she's like, okay, I'm so sorry. I really need you to just tell me, what do you know what human design is, and do you know what yours is? And I was like, listen, I've heard of it. I don't know much about it, but yeah, sure. Let's dive into it, because, she was very excited. I could tell this, she's so excited. Right. So she's like, okay, tell me your date of birth, time of birth, and place of birth. That's basically the basics of what you need. And so she pulled it up and she was like, okay, this makes so much sense, because you basically are in human design. I'm a manifestor, which is I am the person who is I love how she describes it. She describes it like parts of a car. So I'm the ignition. So I am the person who is supposed to come and basically ignite others. And I'm a 4/6, which is basically I'm a network and role model. So a lot of what I'm supposed to do comes from me, my learned experience, and then taking that and sharing that wisdom and helping others. And so even in that moment, it was so small, but it especially because that was I still haven't actually put on my first workshop, but it was the first time where someone was like, this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing, versus me just being I really want to do this. I really want to help other people. I want to put this out there. And it was such a cool moment. And so today when we were talking about this, because I think this has come up, because we're so new to this, it keeps coming up, right? We're okay, what are we going to talk about this time? What are we going to do? And we have such a natural cadence when we talk about stuff. But I think, again, it comes down, you're well, what should we talk about? Because it's going to be recorded, I think, honestly.
For me, there is that level, that kind of barrier type thing.
Right, yeah,
and
exactly.
You and I, every podcast we start, it always starts with you being all right, so what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Or it's always you bringing it up. I'm definitely down, but you're the one that pushes the envelope and stuff like that. So, we always have that and whatever. And then today you were okay, let me show you exactly what this says. And then you literally broke it down. And I'm sitting here honestly feeling validated, because I was I told you, I need you to do this. I'm in, I can contribute, but you got to set us up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was I finally felt okay, so I'm not just being a jerk here, trying to take advantage or whatever, being lazy. It's just that I do my thing, you do your thing.
Yes.
And it lined up exactly with...
Which is I think this is something I was having a conversation with somebody else, and I've had so many conversations in the past, probably a couple of weeks about this, is the synchronicities that show up when something is right, or it's supposed to happen, or it's like you're on the right path of something. And it was just, and so that's why I was like, you know what? Let me figure out what yours is, because I already know what mine is, and then let's figure out what it means together. And so, because like every time we're basically doing the same thing. And I think the greatest gift I've gotten, at least from human design, is it really does explain to you how you're supposed to fit into the world, for the world to really be even better, like to be a better place. And I am by no means an expert. I'm like very entry level into human design, but I'm so fascinated by it. And what I have learned is like, it's so interesting, and it really like gives you a blueprint on how to then go out in the world and be your best self. Like like even in this small situation, right? It's like, okay, so I'm going to get into like some of the specifics of basically what it says. So I already told you guys I'm a Manifestor 4/6. And basically that means that I'm the visionary who initiates ideas, opens doors, and brings wisdom from lived experiences. And when I first heard that, I was just like, wow, because a lot of times I think when you start something and you're like, I kind of struggled with it being my ego. Like, is it my ego coming through? Like, what makes me so special? Why do I think like I can do all these great things? But then I was like, oh no, that's like what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, that's like what my purpose is and my true purpose in life. And so then, I pulled up yours, and you're a generator, 2/5, which you're the reluctant hero. So basically you're the life force engine with natural storytelling genius, which, guys, anyone that knows him, my God, he's like the best storyteller and just incredible, has great ideas, can expand, just naturally has a gift of gab, and like very intelligent. And you have sustained energy and practical wisdom that draws listeners in magnetically, which 100%. I was like, this is just the beginning of what we read. And I was like, see, this is what I was talking about.
Yeah,
and it just explained it like so easily to be like, okay, this is your dynamic. And it's so amazing. And, it said together, one initiates a vision, which is what we had already agreed upon.
100%.
And the other sustains and brings it to life. Classic duo energy, power duo energy. And I'm like, yeah, we are. I mean, like together, we are so magnetic. And again, that is not like a ego thing. It is how I truly feel, because that's what people are drawn to us.
This is true life lived experience.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This has been, I know, because like, listen, I'm not the one to sit here and be like, oh, you can just, they can say whatever, and you can be like, yeah, that relates to me somehow, or that way. This isn't pulling strings here. This isn't trying to push to fill a shape. No, this is literally how we've been our whole lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like again, like you said, definitely anyone that knows me knows that in any crowd or anything or any setting, I'm going to be sitting there and we're going to be having a good long laugh and tell some wild stories of just some funny different things that we've been through and whatnot. And it comes naturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've had friends where they've had some really cool things happen and go on, but they're horrible at telling a story. I'm just like, dude, come on. Like, you got to get into it. You got to, see if the crowd's coming, going, maybe you got to move the punchline up or whatever. Like, it's just, there is a method to the mayhem, and you got to kind of know when to pull the trigger. So that's for sure. And then again, this is not gloating or ego or anything. This is just literally, this is who we both are.
Yeah.
And it's why we're doing this. And we knew that about one another before this human design situation kind of validated it.
Yeah.
And we just knew that, hey, our powers combined, we can definitely have some fun with this stuff for sure.
Yeah, and it's just so, and that's what's happened with, like, I keep looking it up for different people, or I tell my friends, I'm like, you should look it up. It really does explain to you, because it really does explain to you, like, how do you approach things in life? Are you the person that initiates the thing? Are you the person that needs an invitation to do something? Are you the person that, does a little bit of both? Because there's like different ones. Like there's a manifestor generator. They are multifaceted. There's the generator, there's a projector. Projectors are like, they basically need, I don't know 100%, but I think they're the ones that need the invitation. And I think it like is really interesting. And the people that I've met is like, the ones that are that need that invitation, it's really validated for them to be like, because they're the ones that really want to amplify everything. But then at the same time, they almost feel like they're trying too hard. But then when they have that, they're like, oh no, I'm supposed to wait. Like someone's supposed to invite me in to do the thing or whatever it is. It just helps kind of explain. And I think gives you a different way of really like understanding yourself, which is
I mean, I always
so
say with
helpful.
me, I'm the most antisocial social person you'll ever meet. Because it's like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, all right, are we doing this? Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll rock a whole crowd. That's not a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I'd rather not. You know?
Yeah.
So
No, I agree.
that's why it's great with this, where it's like, yeah, I want to do this. I feel like we have a lot to share, a lot of fun to be had, and just something that can be a joy for us to do and others to listen to. I mean, that's how I think of podcasts, right? So it's like offer some entertainment, get someone through, whether it's a drive or a day or just a lull. You know what I mean? Like, it's just have a good time with it, and I certainly enjoy doing that. But I need you to be the one to kind of steer the ship and say, okay, let's do this, and this is what we're gonna do, and set them up and knock them down type thing. So I definitely feel that, and to me, it's validating too. You know what I mean? To hear everything you're just saying there, because, like I said, I don't want to feel like I'm not contributing, because I can't do it all.
Yeah.
And I know my limitations. Know thyself.
Yeah.
So for sure, this is. I was like, heck yeah, when you read that out. I was like, that's exactly how I feel.
Well, I think the other thing that I found like so like confirming, and another, like that I totally agree with. I mean, having known you your whole life, is that the 2-5, it's a reluctant hero, means that you have a natural genius that even you don't see in yourself. And like and it's like my job is to pull it out of you with like great questions or whatever, or like even, but I feel like in general, that has been our dynamic, because I have always been like, you're so smart, you can do this, you should do that, or this, or whatever. And like, I definitely feel like I've always seen the potential that is there in you that you may not have seen in yourself. And so it's just so interesting to see it, from like something that I didn't even know existed, like just a completely different, like, because I've taken personality tests and the other things, and they do give you some stuff, but most of that stuff to me is not deep level stuff. It's like stuff that like you're introverted, you're extroverted, you learn a certain way, or you do whatever. Those are like things that like most people kind of know, but this is like just a very, because it gives you so much more than that. It gives you like how you function, what your gifts are, how you're supposed to use them, how you're supposed to like, how you fit into the world, how you fit into relationships, like.
And see, that's my thing, like the whole introvert extrovert, you basically have to be one or the other. Well, that doesn't work for me, because left to my own devices, I'm highly introverted. Yeah. But with the spark, with, in a crowd, or with someone kind of saying, all right, here we are, or whatever, like, it would take you to get me out there. But once I'm out there, I'm extremely extroverted. You know what I mean? That's not a problem, but it's just getting there. Yeah. That's an issue. I'd rather just be left alone. I'm very much a leave me alone kind of person.
Yeah. And like your gift 33, which is your most important, is the gift of retrospection and storytelling. Like you're a natural narrator of experience, which is so true. I think that's why people are drawn to you, because you can really, like, I think that's really how you connect with people. No matter where you go, people always are drawn to you, and you're just like able to, I think this is true for both of us, is that we're really able to allow people to feel seen, like feel good, seen, whatever, like comfortable. And so
that's a lot of part of like when I'm telling stories, you know what I mean? Because I've lived a lot, like, I'm one of my age would have been, but I've also been out there. We've been all over, lived all over, done different things, studied different places, and had different things. So when I'm telling a story, I always include and engage my audience. You know what I mean? Yeah. If I'm talking about someone, I'll find a way to relate it to someone that it relates to. This guy's really smart like you, bro. Or this guy who's really adventurous like, like you, when you were, remember how you were talking about that? Like, I find a way to include everyone and engage everyone. Yeah. And it's just that from also knowing your audience. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But like, that's just how it goes. And it really brings everybody in. You know what I mean? And that's just a part of it. Also reading it, seeing their expressions, reading it, seeing what parts they like, what parts they're kind of fizzling on. And you still get that whole same story across. Yeah. And hey, you got to throw a little bit of, spice is nice on it. You know what I mean? Like any stories, you got to throw something in, because it's still, it's just like one of those movies based on a true story. Yeah. So you can still get it across, but there's no reason you can't add a little bit of gumption to it. So, but for sure, I absolutely do that. So Yeah, I feel you on that point for sure. Is just get people engaged, include them, compliment them, and that's the thing. Like I'm big on that. Like it doesn't, and it's not just flattery either. You know what I mean? It's like purposefully including someone or including them somehow or something like that
Yeah.
because you genuinely care for this person or you want them to enjoy their time or you want them to feel validated because why not include everyone, especially because a lot of times when I'm going and I'm telling a story, I'm holding that whole room, I'm holding that conversation, so this is a way to kind of continue on in that way but without making people feel alienated or like they can't talk or they can't whatever. So they're like, yeah, continue.
Yeah.
And it's just entertaining, and I've always enjoyed that.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I found like super interesting, which I totally know, and I think I've gotten better at like being able to do with you over time, is like it was saying your emotional authority, which is essentially, means that your best insights come after sitting with something.
Yeah.
And, even like it's funny because like even today, I was like throwing stuff out and I was waiting for your response. And then I was like, okay, I don't know. And then I think for me, it's like, you're not responding maybe how I expect you to respond or want you to respond. So then I'm like, okay, I need to go to the next thing. But really, again, so that was like one of the really good things for me. I was like, no, it's not about that he's not responding. He needs time to respond. I can't rush him into the response.
Yeah, it's just that it's like you throw out an idea, and then to me, it's not a good or a bad idea. It's just like, let me chew on that. Let me see how I can attack that idea, how it relates, to me, how I can make sense of it, and then I expand on it. You know what I mean? I'm definitely someone who likes to think on things. I hate that whole pivot, this and that, but don't get me wrong. In the middle of a conversation or the middle of like, let's just say two people talking smack to each other, I can respond quickly. That's not the issue. But like when we're actually trying to do something, I like to chew on it. I like to process and think of what would the best approach be, So, and I know I don't say anything. I just kind of go quiet. Yeah. And I'm like in my head. And I get that. I don't know, if I had a light I could put above my head that said thinking, that'd probably be great.
That'd be hilarious. I mean, like, he's thinking right now. The light is on.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like, but you hit me with a completely new, different idea. So then I just needed a minute to think on that and be like, how would we approach this? But for sure, I can get how it might seem like I'm disengaging, but I'm not at all. I'm just... And then I'm like, oh, here, check this out. And you're like, wait, when did I say that? Yeah. I'm like, a while ago. Yeah. You said that. And then I started computing, and this is what I came out with. This is my result. And you're like, okay. And you moved on to like 3 new ideas. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm on idea number 5 now.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Which one were you referring
nothing
to?
From you. Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
I do agree. It's so funny, and like I think the other thing that came up was so, and I love this. It gave me practical tips. It was like practical magic tips. Let them respond. Don't pepper them. Throw out a bold statement story and let them react. And then it's like, don't rush them on emotional topics. And I laughed so hard when I saw that, and I was like, yeah, I'm very patient. Like I try. Give them space to circle back. What do you think? It's funny. It says, what do you think now that you've sat with that?
But it's true though, because guess what? I do sit with all of it.
Yeah.
My mind is always going. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's why a lot of times though, sometimes, you know what I mean? When I'm looking at something or thinking about something, I do want to also be spontaneous on it, because I promise you I could think about it 5 different times and come up with 5 different scenarios or responses or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then trying to remember it and like go over the script, that's not me. I do like to just kind of come up with something naturally. I just want a moment to process it and think about it and then come up with what I want to go with it as, right? Because otherwise just like, oh, I could have said that, or this would have been a better angle or something like that. But no, it's a lot of fun. And that's what I appreciate about you. And that's why when we were talking about this, I was just like, we would be awesome together.
Yes.
Because I just know that all this, whatever you want to say I have or whatever I don't have, I know what I can provide. I know what I can definitely do, and there's magic there, but I know I can't do it by myself.
Yeah.
I know it'll all just stay inside, as it has for so freaking long. Only time it's ever come out, and it's plenty, but that's in like with me and my friends, whether we're at a bar or we're just sitting together at a function or or even at work. You know what I mean? We all have a good time and stuff like that, but it was more about sharing it outside, making it kind of go. And I just knew I wanted to do it, but I could only do it with you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's very, I don't know, it was like again, like this whole week, I feel like, especially the last week for sure, has been so many synchronicities of like things. And then of course, we haven't recorded in a while and I use the things that we record with. And then I'm a genius and, totally forgot to never charge them. And so today, when we're finally like, yes, we hit it, the iron is hot, let's hit it. We're like, oh, the things are dead.
Yeah.
And so,
shouldn't this light be on? Shouldn't that be
I was like,
on?
why isn't it on? I was like, and the funny thing is, we probably chatted for a while before that. We could have been charging it, but I had no idea because I wasn't paying attention to that. But then I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just go on Instagram, look at what's going on. And then again, there was stuff that came up, like the reels that were coming up in the discovery feed of basically the same things of like just validating some of this stuff, which was just, so interesting because it's all still like new, but I just find it so, interesting. Like when these things come up and like what like confirms or, you find new information or whatever. And it was just like today, I was just like, wow, this is so on point with another thing because now that I know about human design, I'm constantly referring back to it to find out. And it's one of the things that I've considered actually getting like certified to be able to do it more. But, guys, we all only have so much time. So right now I'm just like, a newbie just dipping my toe into it. But I do find it super fascinating and just so intriguing about, essentially living according to your human design. And obviously, listen, you don't have to like go by everything, but everyone that I've talked to about this and looked it up for, it has been so on point.
Yeah.
Like there's no one that I'm like, I've, talked to about it or then they pulled it up. Like I had a really amazing event at my house. Really, that was like my first workshop. I just invited women that I was connected to in different parts of my life. And I just wanted to really celebrate me launching, my business as a joint consultant and just have them in a space, different women in one space. My friend Maggie came and she, just touched on human design and basically kind of had everybody pull it up for them and then kind of talk to them about it. And every single woman was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. Because it's like it's not vague information. It's actually very specific to who you are, even though to me, it blows my mind because there's how many humans on this earth, but yet like there's not that many different types, but then it is like there's like different levels of it is how I can explain it at this point from what I know. And it's just interesting to be like, oh wow, it still makes sense for whoever is like looking it up or looking up their type to say, yeah, oh, this makes so much sense. I get why I don't do this or I don't want to do that or I need someone to like invite me in for it to really work. Or
I think that's for me why I think it is more valid. And this is not to knock things like astrology or this, that, or the other, but I feel like there's a lot of vagaries in those, and you could literally read the horoscope for any one of them
and find some kind of
and find something that somehow relates to you, whether it's that period of time in your life or just whatever it may be. And again, I'm not knocking it. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Yeah. But what I'll say where I see this separating itself is it not only tells you about the positives, but the negatives. It tells you about where you need the help to achieve yours, the synergy and things like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I can not only relate to all the yay, yay, rah, rah, rah it's saying about me, but also the saying, yeah, you need help, bud. You can't do that. And that's me. That's like, it's not a failure to launch in my life. It's more of to reach true potential, you need this partnership or you need this facilitator or, this spark plug or whatever it may be. Even though like I know, what the different things that I can offer, I also know the things you can offer, which is exactly why we wanted to do this together. You know what I mean? You're a motivator, you're an organizer, you're a spark. You're ambitious, you know what I mean? Like you're also highly intelligent. There's just a lot of great things that you bring to the table that, you and me combined, we can both truly shine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's why
That
I
was the
said
thing I thought was really unique about this too. And I was like, okay, I see that.
that's why I said we're the classic power doer energy.
Yeah. And listen, with the power doer thing, even today you were making some reels and having some fun with it. And you had a great concept and you had you know what I mean? Like things you wanted to do. But then when you and me started talking about it and stuff like that, it kind of took on, you know, a little bit of a different shape and stuff like that. And really, I feel like it hit a home run.
Oh, yeah.
Just from us sharing the idea a little bit and going for it. And then, like, everyone kind of contributed in the house, which was great.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that's the thing. You know, you give that spark, you give that idea, you give that, hey, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, if you're going to do it, let's try this. Let's add that. And it's like, oh, that's great. You know, it's that synergy.
Yes. Yeah.
So I definitely feel you on that.
Yeah. No, it's
we could be a hell of a comedy duo too, buddy.
We could. But I think it's because part of that is also I've just, like I was having a conversation with my friend today about, you know, part of like my evolution has been, I think, really connecting more to the lighter side of myself. I think the funner side of myself, the comedian, the more of my heart versus like, and I was actually having a conversation with, you know, Jag about it too. It's like, it was about, I feel like I spent most of my life in my head, like just really, you know, head focused ego, not necessarily ego, but like really more in my head, just analytical side. Right. I mean, like I'm an accountant, that came naturally to me, but then I've realized that's not all of it. There's so much more there. And I think the more that I step into this other side, I'm like, oh, wow, I can see it like
there's
this.
a lot there.
Yes, there's so much there.
Yeah.
Like I learned something
together,
new.
I know.
Yeah, there's so much there.
Like you are a big boss lady, but you're also a lot of fun.
Yes.
And I get that life comes at you fast and you're like, you know, wife, mother, accountant, business, work, all that. I get all that stuff, but like there is a very light side to you that has a lot of fun, and we definitely had a lot of fun growing up. And you know, we're each other's shelter through a lot of things. So I know there's a great light side to you for sure.
And I mean, I think you definitely brought that out of me, like from my whole life. Like you definitely just bring out that like more lighter, you know, side of me. And so it's just, and I think that's why it's like, we can talk about different topics. Like even our first episode talking about like how I just invited you to Christmas is something people be like, oh my gosh, so serious, but it wasn't so serious, right? It was like we laughed during that episode because there are things that are funny about, you know, like difficult situations.
No matter how shitty a situation is, I'm sorry, but like there's still a way to have fun with it. I remember when you had appendicitis in DC and you were sitting in your bed and I just climbed into the bed with you. I was like, what's wrong, dog? You know what I mean? You're like, stop making me laugh. You know? Like it's just, you know, and that's just my natural kind of response to things. And I could probably use some of your seriousness, buddy, and that's why this is good to do together,
yes,
you know?
Yes, it is.
So I have begrudgingly taken on adulthood. So far, so good, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
Very begrudgingly.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with this. So that's why I enjoy what we're doing, and hopefully we're hugely successful.
Yes.
And I can
Yeah.
semi-stop adulting. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be great.
Yes, we're just going to outsource as much as we can.
Yeah.
So that we can give other people opportunities to do those things. And, you know, we can shine our light in what we're meant to shine our light in now. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, because we're all grinding. Everybody in here, everybody out there, we're all grinding. But wouldn't it be beautiful if we could just kind of go on our path, live our life, and just, you know, not have to just grind so much just to, whatever, make ends meet and do the traditional things and get things right. You know, it'd just be nice if you could. It'd be great if me and Rosh could just sit here and have conversations and you guys would enjoy them.
Yes. I would
that'd
love
be fantastic,
that.
guys.
That's what we're trying to do.
Hook
but
it up.
I think, I do think that what I really love about the human design, because it actually, I think, is like a point of giving you grace, because it actually tells you, hey, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. This is actually how you are meant to fit into the world. And if you basically go against it, which is what happens when we're all trying to conform to a system or, you know, some kind of, I don't know, expectations, conditioning, whatever you want to call it. So it really helps you to be like, no, you're actually supposed to be this way. Like you're like, for instance, for you, like you're actually supposed to sit on things, think about them. And that's also true for me. Like for my, it's like, it's your authority, like how you make the best decisions. And for me, I realized this, like when she's like saying it. So now, like, cause I think especially growing up, like I always felt a lot of pressure to make decisions quickly. But now I'm like, no, I don't want to make a decision quickly because one, it does make something go off in my body that's almost like a freaking alarm that's like, no, stop, this is not what you want to do. And so, but then, you know, in modern life we feel this pressure that we have to make choices, and sometimes much quicker than we want to, right? And so I think it's great to be able to see something and be like, well, this is kind of how, you know, you're supposed to do things. Maybe you should give yourself some grace and actually realize, okay, yeah, if I do things this way, it's actually going to work out better, not only better for you, but for the people around you and the different relationships that you have. So I think that if any of you are interested, you can get a free chart. The website's www.myhumandesign.com. I will link it in the show. You just need your date of birth, your exact time, and the location. And basically what it will pull up for you is your type and strategy. That means how your energy works, your authority, how you make the best decisions, your profile, which is your life's role and archetype, and then incarnation cross, your bigger life's purpose. So it gives you all those things, and it's just, I think if nothing else, it's curiosity. But I think like I said, I mean, I have not had a lot of exposure to it. I've only known about it for the last probably 6 months to a year or so. But literally every single person that I have tried to look up, it has helped them in some way to be like, oh, that makes sense. That's why I do this. That's why I don't do that. That's why I don't like this situation or that situation. So I think
I found out about this, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks ago when Rashi asked me when I was born, what time, and I was like, you crazy? I don't know all these things. Like, ask Mom. She's like, I did, but I don't know if I have it, and this and that. She's like, okay, let me ask. And I was like, why? And she told me about this. She's like, I don't think I did yours yet, but I'll let you know. It's really cool. It's amazing. I was like, all right, sounds good. But today, right now, right before we recorded this, is when she actually, I guess you looked me up or something? Yeah,
I put your information in there.
Okay,
It's very
I thought
cool.
it was a much more complicated process. Guys, it doesn't take long.
No, it literally, you just put it in. The website's super easy.
Yeah.
The woman who created this, who founded this, her name's Jenna Zoe. I actually got to see her at a book event that I went to for Manifestation, and she was there. She was one of the speakers, and she was talking about kind of what's going on, and how to be magnetic. They had a book tour that I went to because, again, something I really like and has helped me along my journey. And so she was there speaking, and so then I looked her up, and yeah, she's a very simple thing. And then if you want to more deep dive into things, she has stuff that you can like further purchase and figure out. But guys, if you're, listen, there's always AI. I recommend Claude. If you really want to, you can get your chart, you can then download it. It comes into like a PDF. And then, you can get some general ideas from it. But there are people that you can also then look up if you want to really get like a full report reading explanation, essentially, of like what it really means for you in different situations. But I think it's a great tool to have as your toolkit of, life. I think it's just super helpful, and it has been for me and so many other people. And so I just appreciate that you were open to sharing it. But then I loved it because when I started reading it, before I even shared it with you, I was like, oh, yeah, there's going to be no doubts in his mind after reading it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've been telling you.
Yeah.
But the beauty is, guys, I want everyone here to understand that, yes, Rashi's very deep. She's into a lot of different things. She puts a lot of time and effort into them. But don't be intimidated by that stuff, because I literally walk around in the dark just feeling the way around, okay? So I'm a total noob on all this stuff. She's deep into a lot of healing and meditation and synergy and all this awesome stuff that she puts a lot of time into. So, but both of us can agree this thing was on point, is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I could probably use some of what she's having, but I'm just saying that these are two polar opposites once again, but we can definitely agree on this. This is pretty 100% on point. I don't know what else to tell you. This is This was bang on. And I felt really validated because honestly, when, me and Rosh started doing this, there's a part of me that was kind of like, I'm putting it all on her or this, that, and the other. And it's like, I want to do this. I want to contribute and stuff. But like, I don't know. I can do what I can do, but like, I need you to do what you do. Work your magic and I'll work mine. Yeah. And together, we can really make this happen. And I feel like we are. We're having fun doing it. I hope y'all are enjoying it. But yeah, so like Rashi was saying, like, don't feel like, frustrated or this, that, and the other. Everybody kind of is who they are, has their talents they have, has their limitations they have. I certainly have mine.
Yeah, same.
And she helps me so much in being able to do what we're doing right here, right now. And it's awesome. It definitely is a super power duo for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's why I really want to share this, because I think it will help other people, not only with themselves and understand themselves, but then other relationships, whether it's like, their husband or partner or wife or whatever, their kids. It really does give you that deeper level, like surface level understanding of how people function and like what they need.
Which helps cohesion,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. Yes, yeah. I agree. And so, yeah, again, it's just like, I think it just happened to come up and I think it was perfect timing. And I was like, let's talk about this. I think this is great. Like, this is something it's obviously way out of the norm that we talk about, but I think it's really important because I think it's such a helpful tool for people, especially I think right now when people feel so disconnected or lost or they're trying to like find their way. I think it's something that will really help you and help you then further understand and figure out. And like, I think for people sometimes, like, I mean, same for me, it's like you feel like you're not doing the right thing or you're being lazy or like you were saying, like, I don't want to seem like I'm not pulling my weight or whatever I'm not doing. I think it just gives you that reasoning behind it. And it's like, no, you just actually need time. You don't need to be rushed. You need to like think about things. And the same thing for me, right? Like, I think it helped me to be like, okay, no, that's not when you're going to make your best decisions if you're rushed into making them. So like, give yourself time and, think about things before you actually like make a decision about it. And so I really just wanted to share it because I think that I'm hoping it will help all of you and hopefully, help you in your relationships in your everyday life. And I think it's such a practical tool for it being linked to like astrology and like your sacral stuff. It's just,
and if nothing else, honestly, like I think there's a lot more, but if nothing else, it gives you a basis, especially if you have a partner or something of that nature, of seeing, hey, what our different dynamic roles are and how we can find synergy in that. You know what I mean? Like, let's try this. I would think you could relate to it because you've lived your own life, so you should know and be like, that's bang on, like Rashi and I had. Yeah. But like, maybe you just need some help finding that and be like, that kind of makes sense. That sounds actually right to me. You could try using that. Try playing to each other's strengths then and see how that goes. I think that could be pretty awesome. I mean, I think her and I knew right away, like, okay, this is pretty much it right here, right now. But like, even like work-wise for me, that makes a lot of sense too. You know what I mean? Yeah. And quite honestly, like I have supervisors and managers who literally think I am amazing.
Yeah.
While I'm sitting here thinking like, I don't even know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, it's like they provide that structure, that spark that we need to get on this, and then boom, I'm all systems go on that, and I get it done.
Yeah.
So I just think that it relates to a lot of things. But you and me, bang on. Like, this is just 100% on point, on brand. Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with that. Okay. This was very interesting, to say the least, to hear about this and be like, yep.
You're right.
Us. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
I just wanted to hear you say it. That's all.
Yeah. And I'm right.
Yes.
You got to start my engine up, dog.
Yes. No, it was good. I think this is such like a good... a very divine time to find something like this and be like, okay, why are we, because I basically approached it from, why are we struggling? Like, we have such great dynamics, such great conversation. Why are we struggling when we actually try to like do this? And it's not that, like, I don't think it comes from so much the nervousness or performing, because I don't think we feel that way because we're doing this for fun. But I think I was just like, but why are we like, it's not jiving like we normally do. And then I pulled it up and I was like, okay, this makes complete sense. This is why we are feeling that tension that shouldn't be there. Yeah. And now I understand. And so now I'm like, it's funny because I think that naturally am the igniter, the person who does take the lead. But I think even though I know that, like, that is my natural way of being, I still want feedback from people. But I think what it helps me in this situation is to be like, well, that not everyone is going to be as quick to respond as you think is a normal response time, right? And so I think that's like a good lesson for me to learn too. It's not me. It's not like maybe because I think like for me, it's like I want to, I don't know, like if someone's not responding, I start doubting it.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Right.
Me hesitating,
yes. Right,
it's not me rejecting it at all.
Right.
It's me absorbing,
yes,
and then processing,
yes,
and then coming back.
And
out
that was
with
so
something.
helpful to see that and be like, no, okay, he just needs time to process, and so I need to like lay off a little bit. I need to like lay off the gas, let him have that time to like process and understand it, and then go back. And so I think that was like really helpful for me to see. Yeah.
Because you had no idea even at that point that I'd already taken a point you had made much earlier. And I was kind of trying to wrap my head around it and kind of like how I would attack that. Because it's like, I was good, but I was like, okay, how do I get there? Because I just never thought of that before. That's all it was. And I wanted to bring my A game for that. Because, it's our podcast. I do take it more seriously than just us sitting here talking,
of course. Absolutely,
whatever.
Yes.
So it's just like, because we would like to do our best with it. That's all. But at the end of the day, we're trying to make this to where it's easier. We're trying to make it to where we can just have a conversation about something we both are interested in having a conversation about.
Yes, absolutely.
We don't want to put in a bunch of research and a bunch of work for every conversation we have, because this is about that. We're not here to like split the atom. You know, we're just here to have a good time, share some fun stuff, and just have, a good, meaningful conversation. Don't get me wrong, but it shouldn't also be something that, I have to study for.
No exams. No exams. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you look it up. It's myhumandesign.com. Jenna Zoe is the founder, and I think you will really like what you find out about yourself and about others around you in your life.